Hello and welcome to Ginger Prime. My name is Brian, and in today's video we're diving into which class you should play when starting out Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Now, if you're thinking about checking out this game and this is the video that YouTube has recommended to you, I highly encourage you to do so. But as with most online RPGs, the question as to which race and class you should play is a critical one, and it's really my hope that this guide helps gives you a good overview, helps answer these questions for you, and gets you into the game and having the best time possible. The great news is you can actually change your class at any time by going to the class counter and being able to switch it to any of the 6 starting classes. So don't feel like you're going to be locked into a specific class just because you picked the wrong one right at the start. So let me put this first question right to bed right away. What race should you play when you're playing this game? And the good news is the race is just purely cosmetic. You can play mix and match with your race and your class to your heart's content without having to worry that you might be left out of the end game when it comes time to that. So let's go ahead and talk about the different class options and what you as a starting player should perhaps consider picking. New Genesis has 6 classes at launch, and you can actually use the subclass system to really build out your ultimate character in the world of Phantasy Star. So first, let's go ahead and just give everybody a good summary overview, and then we'll dive into the class-specific skill trees and more. So you have the Hunter. This is a class geared to close range combat. They excel at engaging enemies in close quarters, and they're boosted by high HP and defense, so they can hold their own when playing solo. Hunter is going to be a great option for you as a new player, just basically if you want power and you want that level of survivability. You're going to wield a massive sword, and Hunters can actually be used to build up as a quote-unquote tank if you wish, even though this game doesn't feature any kind of Holy Trinity type of battle system that you need to worry about. Next, we have the Ranger. This is going to be a class geared toward medium range combat. They're going to use ranged weapons to engage enemies while maintaining the optimal distance. They can also support other players with ranged of special rounds for their guns. This is going to be a really good choice for new players. It's going to let you play safely from a distance, and you can put out a lot of damage from afar. You can also dodge incoming attacks, so it's going to be a great choice for new players just trying to get a feel for the overall game and the world. Now, for players who are more magically inclined, you're going to want to check out the Force. This is a class geared to long-range combat. You're going to make use of techniques to assault an enemy from a distance, and you're going to make a variety use of the different techniques, and that's going to be allow you to explore enemy weaknesses. Forces use that weapon to use that element, and this could actually prove difficult to new players really trying to get an understanding of the game, but I personally enjoy this class a lot, and the magic that it wields when you're using the elemental weaknesses of monsters is a must-have in every party. You can stagger enemies, you can expose new weak points on enemies by using the right element against them. So honestly, at the end of the day, if you're not going to play this class, if you have a friend that's willing to play as a Force, note that you're going to really benefit from that synergy that the Force brings to parties. From here, another incredibly fun class to play is the Gunner. This is going to be a close range class geared to wielding ranged weapons actually at point blank. This is going to make light work of enemies with your great mobility and your relentless turret of bullets. You're going to wield the submachine gun basically, and you can also use assault rifles just like the Ranger can use. And so you're going to have a lot of variety when it comes to playing as the Gunner, but you got to think close range as where the Ranger is actually more mid-range. This is going to obviously put you up close and personal, so you're going to need to make sure that you're very flexible and comfortable with dodging incoming attacks so you can avoid damage and output as much damage as humanly possible. I have to say, even if you don't stick with the Gunner, you owe it to yourself to go give it a shot and give it a try before moving on to any other class. Not necessarily what I'd recommend for starting out specifically, but it's something that every player I think should touch because it is very unique to the world of Phantasy Star, and it's unlike any real class that I've played in any other action RPG. Now we move into the Fighter territory. This is a class geared towards ultra close range combat. They are at their best when they are pressing the enemy. What they lack in defense is actually made up for by their devastating, can't even struggle to say that word, and pulverizing attacks. And I mean that. Honestly, at the end of the day, I love and adore Fighter. They are fast, they are furious, and honestly, at the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to check this out. Personally speaking, after starting as a Hunter in this game, I would recommend either starting as a fighter or a hunter. These are going to be the two that I really recommend. Hunters have a little bit more survivability, so if you're struggling as a fighter and you're new to the game, I would recommend subbing hunter for those additional bonuses to help increase your survivability at the end of the day. Now, I cannot recommend this class enough. This is such a fun class to play, and unlike the original PSO2 where I did not enjoy the fighter class whatsoever, I adore it here, and right now I'm struggling between maining a force or maining a fighter when the game is officially out here in June. So just note that this is a great option for you, and if you're watching this video in the future and you're looking for more up-to-date guides, just note you can check the top link in the description of this video for the PSO playlist that will get you caught up on all the PSO2 coverage here on the channel. And by the way, returning subscribers, you are awesome, and I love you very much. Finally, let's go ahead and talk about the Techer. This is your support class. This is a class geared towards close and long-range combat. This is also going to be allowing you to support other players through your techniques, and you're going to have the temporal ability to improve and enhance their defenses and attack, while also weakening the enemies as well. You can also have the right skill trees, the ability to actually heal the party as well. So depending on how you spec out your skill tree is going to be kind of determinant of how you play this class. So if you're looking to play that healer role, like I said, there's no holy trinity in the world of PSO2. Just note that you'll want to go ahead and focus in on the Techer as a start. And if not, if you don't want to main that and you want to main force, Techer is a great choice to sub on force, so that way you can have that AoE heal as well. You can put that on anything. So if you wanted a hunter kind of going for a paladin build, hunter sub Techer as well. So note there's a lot of strength, a lot of power when it comes to the classes and how you choose to build them. So hopefully that is a help. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the in-game system in which that you can change your character. You're going to want to come to the blue section here in the main central city, and if you talk to Kosh here, you can actually manage to change your class. If you just click on change class, here you can set your main and you can set your sub. So right now I am on fighter and ranger, so if I want to change my subclass to have hunter, there you go. So now that's how it works. It's that easy. What's really cool is that no matter what, you're getting still experience on your subclass as well. Not as much as your main class, but you're still getting experience regardless. You can also have multiple skill trees, and adding skill trees to this game does cost premium currency, and I would not recommend doing that right away. If you're just trying this game, trying it for free, just live for free in the game and don't worry about spending any money, and look up a guide when it comes to builds. So that way you don't mess up and you don't have to worry about waiting for a reset skill tree. But we'll cover more of that here in another video. Now, before we actually dive fully into our skill trees and options, I do want to point you to the loadout screen. This is where you can save your class, your subclass, and your equipment so you can easily switch between the two. So that way, if you're playing and you're trying just to level up two different types of builds, you can save your build, you can save your skills, and you can that makes it easier when you're coming to change. You won't have to rebuild out everything. You can save up to 16 in this case, which is really handy. That includes your main and your sub, so you can end up having main and multiple different subs and kind of playing around with what ultimately you like the best. So I just want to point that out because we're going to get into our skill trees system here. We're going to start with the hunter. The hunter's got a couple different skills. You get the first one is Hunter Physique. This is a temporary, it's going to reduce the damage that you take and stops you from being launched or knocked back by enemy attacks. So then we're going to move into 4 different options that you can choose to use. So you have Photon Arts Avenger. Taking a hint within the set time of using a Hunter Photon Weapon Art increases that Photon Art's potency, and that's going to take your potency to 150. You can take Warcry. This is an active skill. This is going to draw the attention of nearby enemies for a set time. Enemies you hit are more likely then to target you, and this can actually only be used by a main class, so you can't take Warcry as your subclass. So note that if you're subbing Hunter, you don't want to go ahead and put a point here in this skill tree. You then also have Sword Attack Extra. This is going to let you string 5 normal attacks together with a sword. So if you're equipping a sword as a sub, you still get to take advantage of this. You also have Iron Will. This is an incapacitating attack, I can't see it, attack that will leave you with 1 HP and a moment of invulnerability when the skill is triggered. This can only be used by your main class as a hunter. And then right now you can also take Sword Guard Counter Plus. This is when you equip a sword performing a perfect guard, the sword guard and the following a normal attack will unleash a counter attack. So as you can see here, this is just up to level 15 currently in the game, as this is a part of the beta, but as the game releases, there'll be plenty more skill trees and builds that we'll have to play around with. So let's go ahead and dive into Fighter. Fighter starts off with the first skill that you unlock is Overload. This is an active skill that you're going to put on your bar. This increases the damage that you take for a set time and in exchange for increased fighter weapon potency. This can only be used by your main class. So you got to have maining Hunter to be able to use Overload. So we go down here from the branch, we can go to Limited Break PP Recovery. Recover PP at the end of Overload. That's the ability to use your special skills, and Hunter burns through PP very quickly. Then you could also say string 5 normal attacks together with Knuckles. This is very powerful. I highly recommend you take this, and it feels really great. You also can take Knuckles Sway Counter Plus. This is when equipping your Knuckles after successfully dodging with a weapon action. Using your weapon action again will unleash a counter. Down here, further down the tree, you can say Knuckle Attack Switch. When equipped with Knuckles after successfully dodging with a weapon action, your next normal attack is actually going to hit with its 5th stage attack, which is increased potency. It's more damage going out as well. And then you have also the option for Overload Endurance. This is during Overload, and Anticipation attack will leave you with 1 HP at the end of Overload. You can also gain a movement of an invulnerability when this activates, and the skill can only be used by a main class. Going into our Ranger skills, you have Blight Rounds. This is going to be an active skill, only be usable by Ranger as the main class. Can only be activated using an assault rifle and fires a bullet that increases damage dealt to the parts hit. So you're going to make things a little bit more damaging, so to speak. Then you can take Blight Rounds Reinforce. This parts hit by the Blight Rounds are hit in a set number of times, and it will take increased damage, and the effect duration of the skill will be extended. Only usable by your main. You can take Spread Shot. This is an active skill. Expend a gauge built up by the assault rifle and the attacks to fire the special close range shotgun blast. You can take Rifle Grenadier. When you have the assault rifle equipped, press and hold the weapon action button at the end of a grenade attack. Input a direction at the same time and throw the grenade, or input none and place the grenade at the current location. You have Slide Shot Advanced. With the assault rifle equipped, weapon actions will trigger an invulnerability period, making you obviously invulnerable in this case. You can also then take Spread Shot Quick Getaway. Triggers an invulnerability period when you use Spread Shot. Inputting a direction will also extend the distance of the evasive action. All right, let's go and check out our gunner skills. You've got Chain Trigger. This is a key aspect to the gunner and how it plays. So after a charged twin machine gun's photon art, continue attacking to build up a chain. Then you land another charged photon art to trigger a powerful chain finisher bonus, and this can only be used on your main. You can take Chain Trigger Quick Reload. After a chain finisher boost has triggered, depending on the size of the chain, during the trigger, the reuse time will be shortened, and this skill can only be used as a main gunner. After a chain finisher boost has triggered, the weapon actions of the twin machine guns will change, increasing attack speed, and depending on the size of the chain, and this can only be used by your main class. And you can see the different chains here. So below 50, you're going to have a 100% increase in attack speed for 45 seconds. Below 80 is going to be 105%. Above 81 is going to be 110%, and the attack speed increase will be at 120% in this case. Then you can also pick Stylish Roll. The twin machine guns equipped, pressing the PA button will consume PP to perform a high potency attack. In this case, it will use 10. And then finally, you can take you have also Stylish Onslaught. The twin machine guns equipped performing weapon actions without any directional input will turn it into an advancing rush. And then finally, you have your Stylish Roll Strike Back. With twin machine guns equipped, after a successful dodge with weapon actions, your next twin machine gun's photon art will consume more PP, but will also have increased potency. Lots of good stuff there for the gunner. Finally, now we finally come to what I love, Force, and we'll go to Tekker after this. You have Photon Flare. This is your active skill. This is going to boost your max PP and the potency of force weapons for a set time, only usable by your main class. You can see here a potency of 110%, added PP 50, and the effect duration is going to last for 30 seconds, and it's going to have a cooldown of 180 seconds. You have Charge PP Recovery. You can recover PP through natural recovery while charging techniques when you have a force weapon equipped. Highly recommend, especially if you hold down your charging of your weapons to increase their potency and damage. You have PP Conversion. This is going to be an active skill. It's going to decrease your max HP for a set time in exchange for an increase in natural PP recovery speed. You have Resta Field Force. This is nearby characters will also be healed when you use a Resta. So this is going to be a passive skill that's going to modify your Resta to turn it into an AoE effect. You have Rod Technique Hold. With a rod equipped, sidestepping or using a rod shield while charging a technique will main and charge the status. No PP will be consumed the next time you use the same technique and it's used, and the charge time will actually be shorter. And finally, you have PP conversion increase the number of uses of PP conversion, in this case making it 2 times as a part of instead of just the initial time there. All right, let's go and talk finally now about texture. You've got Shifted Demand. This is an active skill that you use. It increases damage dealt to enemies and it decreases damage taken by you and nearby characters for a set time. Can only be used by a Tetcher. You have Shifted Demand Party Share. This is where distant characters in your party will still receive the effect of Shifted Demand when it is used. You have a Wand Element Chance. You have a wand equipped and you use a charge technique. Your Photonic Fury will take on the element of that technique. Resta Field Tetcher, you can increase the amount of health recovered when you use a Resta, and it also heals nearby characters. Finally, Wand Parry Counter Plus. When you have a wand equipped, successfully guarding with a parry and following it with the normal attack will unleash a counter. And finally, your Wand Element Revoke. When you have a wand equipped, press and hold the weapon action button to revert elemental chances applied to that Photonic Fury by a wind element change. So those are your skills. That's how you do subtrees and classes and more, and that's how you get that set up for the game itself. Hopefully you guys have found this guide helpful. Hopefully you've enjoyed the information here and you can help get started and jump into the game. Again, this is a free to play game. You can go download it now on Xbox and PC, and you can get playing and you can hopefully dive in and hopefully have a really good time with the gameplay itself. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and welcome to the channel. I love you guys, love you faces. Thanks for being here. Hopefully you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in my next one. But until then, take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.